Hey everybody, this is Drew Sanaki. Welcome to the Nerd Marketing Podcast, flu edition, because I've been down with the flu. So good times. We cover a lot today. We talk about the tariffs and the impact on D2C. We talk about everybody dunking on Meta. And we talk a lot about Hexclad and kind of what they've got going on, going into their big Super Bowl ad and how they've been using direct mail. So hope you enjoy it. Really good episode. Everybody get some sleep and stay healthy. Thanks. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, Drew. How are you this week? Getting over flu?
Getting over a flu like I haven't had since I was a little kid. This was a big one, man. It took me down for like a week. My whole family's down, wife, kids. If you go into our house, you just hear puking and moaning in every bedroom. It's not a good scene. And I don't know. I feel like it's going around. I mean, I've talked to a number of people who have just been laid out by this flu.
Oh, yeah. Seems like a ton of our contacts around the country are just all punching out of calls and meetings and everything because everyone's just down. And
yeah, I mean, my son, I don't know, like the kid's gone to like half the school days this year. I'm expecting a call from the school at any point, just like kicking him out. But yeah, it's not good. You might wonder where I am. I am not obviously in my house. I had to get out of there to record. So I came into the Summit offices today to do the
you
podcast.
left the Sanaki Infirmary and went for got your own space.
Yeah, it's the flu, and also the building decided to replace all the windows today, actually this week. So they said they're just going to, pop in and pop out the old windows and pop in the new ones. Pop sort of conveys how simple it should be. It's going to be 4 days, and so far we're a week in. They've done maybe like 5 windows, and like it's down below the sheetrock. They're drilling brick out. It's also a mess. So that office that I usually record in is being ripped apart. Another reason to get out of the house.
Well, at least you got good snacks at the Summit offices over there in Flatiron.
Private Equity's got great snacks.
Yeah, totally.
So we have a lot to talk about today, Mike. So usually, we have to sort of poke around to figure out these trending topics in e-commerce. This week, it was sort of handed to us on a silver platter, tariffs, right? The tariffs went into effect, and then they didn't, and then they got rolled 30 days. But, I think it's caused all of us here in e-commerce and D2C to rethink some things. I don't know if you've spent any time on social media, but there's stories of D2C brands taking like trucks north of the border to try to move all their inventory to down south of the border, like within 48 hours. Were you following any of this?
Oh yeah, that was what dominated my feeds this week for sure.
Yeah, I'm picturing like Bill D'Alessandro at the wheel, Shrey Joshi in the back, Nick Sharma hanging out one side. It's kind of like a movie, sort of like a Cannonball Run thing going on. But like everybody went up there, the Cody Plofkers, right? The Eli's. They had to empty all their warehouses and drive all the inventory to the U.S. They had 48 hours to do it.
It would make for a good movie, maybe direct to Twitter movie. I don't know.
Maybe a direct to Twitter movie. I think it'd be really fun to watch that movie or produce that movie. Anyway, you and I put our heads together and came up with 5 ways that these tariffs are impacting D2C brands, right? And sort of what they can do about them and 5 ways they're getting impacted. So you ready to roll with this?
Yeah, the first is this de minimis loophole. Drew, what is the de minimis loophole?
So I think I didn't know this. There was a $800 duty-free sort of threshold below which, I guess if you brought product into the U.S., you never had to pay a duty before, and it enabled the Temus and the Sheins and all these like fly by night dropship operations to kind of ship things, small dollar order value items direct from Asia, direct from overseas to the US. So that loophole was closed as part of the new tariffs.
Amazon is psyched for this. I mean, Amazon was taking such a hit from the direct from China imports, and I know they're happy with this change, but maybe not so much for some of our D2C brethren.
Do you ever order from Temu?
I do not. I think my daughter has from Shein or something once or twice, but
yeah,
I do not. But I think I'm not that generation.
I've ordered from Temu. I ordered like lawn furniture. I don't know. There was this arbitrage. Definitely, you could find the brand in the U.S. and search the brand on Temu. They didn't even like attempt to hide it.
Yes.
You search like Nike and it shows like the shoe. It doesn't say Nike on the listing, but it like pops up for the search results. And I don't know. I got some outdoor furniture, amazingly cheap and amazingly quick off Temu. Shein, by the way, I pronounce it Sheen because I envision Steen would shop at Shein, have not ordered there. So that was our first impact. The second way D2C brands in the States are getting impacted, rising costs, obviously. So whenever the government slaps a tariff on something, the brands actually don't pay that tariff. I mean, they just get passed on to the customer. So I think it essentially has increased the cost of anything that falls under the tariff. If you are a brand that's manufacturing overseas, your cost just went up. A lot of very vocal people in that situation. The team up at Lumi and up in Canada. So Matt Bertulli, very vocal about this. He manufactures up in Canada and inventories up there. So I know he's been tweeting a lot about how they're looking into U.S. production. But that's the second biggest impact is the COGS are going to go up for a lot of these brands.
Yeah, they don't have the margins to support absorbing it. So inevitably, customers pay it.
All right, number 3. Third biggest impact to brands after the tariffs are that more and more brands are going to shift to U.S.-based warehousing and domestic suppliers. So Matt Bertulli, we just mentioned, talked a lot about he's looking into this for his brands. But, I think this is going to be a boon to U.S. 3PLs and inventory and manufacturing. One of the issues I see a lot of people complaining about is really the unpredictable nature of these tariffs. So they sort of came out of nowhere, and as we all know, Trump can change his tactics very quickly and has given no indication of whether these are here to stay. I think that makes it harder to plan around for U.S. brands. Obviously, if you're going to open up a new U.S. facility, do more manufacturing in the U.S., that requires a significant investment, and you're not going to put in that kind of investment unless you're sure that these tariffs are here to stay. So I guess we put an asterisk on number 3, the shift to U.S. fulfillment strategies, because if the tariffs do stick around, it certainly makes them more attractive. But right now, that's anybody's question. That's anybody's what? Guess. That's anybody's guess, Mike.
Aaron Rubin has been putting out some good content on this. He runs Ship Hero, which is one of the bigger 3PLs, and I know he's got some good insights on making that move and when it makes sense. To your point, you can't just stand up U.S. operation for either production or even fulfillment overnight. So you can go in with your eyes open.
Right. Number 4, increase in tariffs will lead to changed consumer behavior. So obviously, supply curve and demand curves will shift, right? If you're going to change one of those things and prices go up 15, 20%, consumers will buy less. We get to see that in the data, but certainly if it happens, consumer demand is going to be curtailed a little bit if the prices go up. Not necessarily such a bad thing, depending on the category. I think Trump has also signaled that he wants to offset the tariffs with cuts in income tax, which would then increase demand. So it's hard to get it exactly dollar for dollar on certain items. So I would guess that if goods are coming in from overseas and they get tariffed, you're going to see some consumer demand decrease. All right, then to wrap it up, the fifth way tariffs are going to impact brands are if you are exporting, because a lot of our trading partners have also put tariffs on goods coming into their country, Canada, Mexico. If you are exporting to one of those countries, you'll just see the same, in many ways, the same impact, but on the flip side. So that's it. 5 ways that the brands are going to be impacted by tariffs. Who knows if they're here to stay? I guess we're not going to find out for another 30 days. But so far they look like they are. Okay, Mike, a new segment today. Getting a lot of questions around what's going on with Meta. I put out a post this week about it just seemed to be the week to dunk on Meta, right? You had Ash from Avi, you had Sean Frank, you had Cody Plofker, all 3 of them posting about how Meta sucks and has led them astray and sort of what to do about it. So if I had to sum up their argument, it's just, it's arbitrary. So this can mean everything from you get certain results one week and different results the next week. That level of arbitrary. There's also just like I got locked out of it for now and I can't get back in. That level of arbitrary. So arbitrary nature is a big one.
Yeah. What was it last night? You see a bunch of posts going up that its spend spiked, went well beyond sort of my budget caps just out of nowhere for a random couple hours. That tends to happen sort of every week. You hear stories about that kind of stuff.
Right. And then you're also talking about like the changes recently regarding health products.
Yeah. Then you've got more systemic issues that have been really top of mind for folks. One being that health and wellness restrictions. So you're starting to see the effect of the new restrictions that Meta's putting in place for health and wellness related brands as a result of FDA and I think FCC regulations around digital targeting of prospects or customers or people based on certain medical information that you may or may not know about them. And so now you've got this situation where they're basically pulling the rug out from under these brands when it comes to targeting and tracking. So losing visibility into who you can, the relevant audiences and how you can target them, losing visibility into tracking. So the conversion metrics around them, you can't target based on bottom of funnel events anymore. So a lot of changes coming in health and wellness. And then the rumor is we're doing this on a Thursday, and supposedly tomorrow, big news is going to be breaking out of Meta. And the rumor is that they're going to be taking more control once again from advertisers by making requiring you to use more of their AI tools for managing campaigns and taking more and more of the controls out of the hands of marketers. And this is just the continuation of a trend we've seen over time.
Interesting. And I've long thought that Meta takes just way too much credit for acquiring new customers when it's essentially doing a lot of retargeting and remarketing to existing ones.
We hear a lot about that too. Brands digging into the data and saying a higher and higher percentage of our conversions seem to be getting attributed to existing customers when we thought that these were prospecting campaigns, and we even had our exclusion lists in our audiences.
Right. And so everybody's dunking on Meta. I kind of dogpiled on it, put out some content around like, hey, if you're just what did I say? If you're just buying Facebook ads, you're a media buyer, you're not a marketer. Let's talk about the 4 ways we came up with to sort of get out of the meta madness and reestablish yourself as a marketer. What are the skill sets that are going to be required going forward if you don't want to be beholden to this one channel that's relatively arbitrary? And the first one was that marketers should be really good at brand strategy. So what do we mean by that?
I think it goes back to what is really a marketer. And you've mentioned this before, Drew. Heads of marketing in a lot of cases have really become just head media buyers, and they lose the elegance and essence of marketing with true brand marketing, brand strategy, brand positioning. How do we differentiate ourselves? How do we create an experience and advertising materials that don't just scream like buy now and get that, and feed that into Facebook's algorithm to serve it, but bring people into the market and create awareness and memorable touch points for people who are not ready to buy your product right now. I think there's a lot of content that's been put out. Less than 5% of your target customer base is in market for your product at any given time. How do you do marketing so that you are top of mind for the 95% that aren't in market today? And so when the time comes, if they are ready to buy, they remember and choose you. And that's marketing, not just media.
Marketing with a capital M.
I like it.
Yeah, and it feeds really nicely into our second thing that marketers need to do, which is be really good at creative direction. And I think of Hexclad in their Super Bowl commercial, which is just like, that's the kind of marketing that's going to win. It's when you're being creative with your meta campaigns, it's not just like, let's A/B test one word in this copy, or a 15% offer versus a 20% offer, and obsess about the incrementality. It's like, no, you really need to step back, put your creative hats on, and come up with whole new storylines and campaigns about how your ideal customers experience your products and how they win, right? And tell that brand story in a very creative way, and then develop the ad copy for all these. But I think that creative process has been missing largely in the world of media buying. And I think the brands that are going to win going forward, the marketers that will win, are the ones that can get back to that creative source and iterate and come up with all the new storylines and creative and ad copy, more so than those that have mastered a channel and know how to like iterate out 50,000 ads and tweak the bids.
I think that's such an important point, Drew, because the first element that you described, let's tweak the ad copy, let's tweak the creative a little bit, that's completely commoditized now. AI is made it so that you can create 50,000 variations of an ad in 10 minutes or whatever it is. So if that's what you're doing, is trying to manually think through, let's create version A and a slightly different version B and a slightly different version C, you're missing the plot. What you described is exactly right. What is the plot? What's the story that you're trying to tell? Because I don't know that AI is going to come up with the story. They're just going to come up with 50,000 ways to tell the story.
Right. And so the third thing we think brands really need to do, understand the consumer psychology. So this is like, I think of the old school marketing, the 4 Ps, your product, how you're going to price it and package it up, how you're going to distribute it, how you're going to position it, what is the messaging. Like, that all requires a really strong knowledge of customer and why he or she buys. And I don't know. I know a lot of Facebook ad buyers, and my sense is they still seem like separated from the core customer. Like, marketers that are going to win are going to go out there. They're going to go into the user groups. You're going to go out there and find who's buying your product, talk to them, listen to them, and then that's going to inform their creative process. So I think to win going forward, you gotta be really good at consumer psychology and building out marketing campaigns that really identify what the customer wants.
Totally. And a couple of people that I really like on this topic, Seth Godin, Purple Cow, talks a lot about product positioning, differentiation, things like that. Robert Cialdini. I always get the pronunciation wrong. One of my favorite books ever was Psychology of Persuasion, I think is the title of it. There's so
Influence.
much.
Psychology of influence.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So great content on truly understanding what motivates your customers or your target customers. Highly would recommend going and reading some of their material.
Yep. Both. Yeah. Awesome book. Probably my favorite business book to come out of business school was Cialdini. And then the last point there, number 4, be really good at channel orchestration. And by this we meant, obviously don't go all in on one channel, because especially one that's as arbitrary as Meta, you'll get burned. Get really good at orchestrating your marketing message across every channel, right? And the classic example we love is, we see a lot of brands, they drop a catalog that tells the brand story, that shows the products in the right, way that they want to show the products with the right copy. And then they mirror that creative through their Facebook campaigns, through their retargeting campaigns and their email campaigns on site. And they've orchestrated all these channels together. The results work really well, better than any one in isolation.
Right. The halo effect is real. You have to understand that you might sacrifice a little bit of efficiency, but you will accelerate your overall growth and you'll be able to scale faster if you do that. Because having multiple touch points makes all of those touch points work better together. So again, great example of that you mentioned. And, I guarantee you that when Hexclad puts up their Super Bowl commercial, that's gonna, it's $8 million or however much it is this year. Are they going to get a direct response ROI on that? I don't know. Probably not. I don't think they're thinking about it that way. But will you bet that their meta efficiency is going to improve in the following weeks of that Super Bowl commercial airing?
Right.
You bet it will.
Yep. I look forward to seeing just how they do that. So anyway, those are 4 ways we think of overcoming Meta, and fun to dunk on, but
we can dunk on Meta all day long, every day, Drew. They give us probably a new reason to, but I think this was good, talking about what are some things brand marketers should be thinking about long term. If you're not thinking about it now, it's only going to become more important. Time for our weekly trends, Drew, where we take a deep dive into the Shopify ecosystem, looking at our massive data set and pull out some insights, how things are trending. What are you seeing?
I think we got to go to Fiverr and get like a theme song for our, dun, 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 like something about benchmarks. What I'm seeing is year-over-year growth up 13%, and so that pulled back 2 weeks ago, or last week we were down year-over-year 7%, and over the past week up. So pulled back from a down year, and that's being driven largely by the bigger brands. So 50 million and up. If I look at the smaller brands, Mike, doing under 10 million a year, they are actually down the past week, but the bigger brands are pulling up the average.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious if the threat of tariffs had anything to do with that bounce back this week, where people thought maybe prices are going up. But either way, good to see that there was a bounce back after a couple of softer weeks, and we're seeing it heavy in the in apparel, sporting goods, pet supplies, some of the standout categories that we're seeing lead the pack, pulling that number up.
Electronics, office supplies, not so much in toys, and vehicle parts, both down, furniture down. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Keep checking the benchmarks. If you want to see yours in real time, add the Postpilot app. It's free, and it will populate within a day or so and show you how you stack up against your own category benchmarks. All right, Mike, we want to talk about one of our favorite customers today. And really just, they're going to be front and center over the next week because they're doing a massive Super Bowl ad, Hexclad. And, this is a brand that has just been growing like gangbusters. They're a beast. I mean, they're one of, if not the biggest Shopify store out there. We've got a little bit of inside intel because we've got a great case study on the site about how they drove $3 million in revenue over a few months at a 12x ROAS using direct mail. So I think that's what we want to deep dive on today.
Yeah, so definitely newsworthy because, they are airing a Super Bowl commercial, and I saw it. It's online now. It is awesome. They did such an amazing job on this thing. They got Gordon Ramsay, of course, guest appearance by Pete Davidson. It's funny. It's sort of newsjacky. So the fact that they turned this around and produced such a high-quality asset is amazing. Credit to that whole team. That is a sharp crew over there. I give them a ton of credit for what they've built, and it seems like it's only getting started. And it speaks to just generally, Hexclad is in this spot that we're finding more and more of these larger brands to be in, which is they need to find new channels that can get them some scale because it's just not worth it when you're at that size. That's why they're doing a Super Bowl commercial. They got to deploy their marketing funds in a place that's going to generate real impact, real eyeballs. They can't go to, AppLovin if AppLovin can only spend $5,000 for them. It's just not worth it. So one of these channels that they've been able to really unlock successfully is direct mail. And it did start conservatively, modestly in the early days, a couple of years ago, where they're testing into some retention segments, seeing some strong results there, especially over Black Friday. A couple of years ago, they got really strong returns. It helped prove out the efficacy of the channel. And then they started moving up funnel. So targeting folks that had signed up for their email list, never converted. Think about these Hexclad pans. These are, these sets are $500-$600 plus. They're not necessarily impulse buys. So starting to move up the funnel into retargeting of warmer prospects is a great strategy for brands like that because they got to keep educating and nurturing those prospects until they buy. They found a lot of success, again, with targeting people who subscribed to email, went through their welcome sequence, sat on their email list for days, months, even years in some cases, and ultimately were able to convert them by getting them a really effective mailer. And then they've moved up into acquisition. Again, it's a great fit, a great category. Strong AOV is a really good factor when it comes to prospecting and direct mail, and they have a strong AOV. A baseline level of brand awareness is really helpful, so you get that effect of, oh yeah, I've heard about these guys before, just never really spent the time to investigate or never really was ready to pull the trigger, but this got me to buy. They put together a beautiful mini catalog. I'm holding it for those watching on video. Just kills it. They've got great creative, great social proof, a great assortment of product that goes beyond pans into knives and aprons and pizza steels and a bunch of stuff. All the ingredients for a successful program are there, and they've just seen it continue to scale and scale and scale along with their incredible growth that they've seen, throughout the company. So, has become a significant program for them now, and a great way to reach, again, new eyeballs that aren't just seeing their Facebook ads. Again, that's why they went to the Super Bowl, because at some point, everyone on Facebook has kind of seen your ads a few times. Where are you going to find new sources of customers, new traffic, and new awareness?
I really Yeah, and I like that catalog. Hold up the catalog again.
Yeah, this is actually their mini catalog, and they've done catalogs as well.
That's right.
But this is a 16-page book that highlights, all their products, recipes, social proof, different categories, best sellers, gift items if they were sending it out over the holidays. They've got this great assortment, and they can tell that whole story through a catalog. And this costs, Drew, you won't believe this. It costs less than a Facebook click by a lot.
Yeah, and you can tell that's where I was going with this. Was I really like the idea of telling the whole brand story on what you can use that as top of the funnel. Somebody gets that. You can read up all you can read the testimonials. You read why. It's essentially the old school direct marketing 1-page sales letter, but they have taken that apart and put it in a catalog format with a lot of visuals. And direct response has worked really well in this category for years. I don't remember growing up, Ginsu knives and things were sold with 1-page sales letters that were very similar to that in terms of all the points the pain points they hit on, the testimonials they put in there. And it's just really interesting to see how Hexclad has sort of reinvented that legacy approach.
Totally. I was thinking about them last night as I was going to sleep, as a matter of fact, and I was thinking about this concept that we touched on earlier about being a marketer and telling the brand story. And this is, to your point, this is a great example of that. It's something that I think more brands should be leaning into. It's how do you get your whole brand story into the hands of your prospective customers? It might not be totally direct response. You want to see some ROI, of course, but think beyond all direct response, quick hit Facebook ads, things like that. How do I start really telling that story and educating people about our brand and our products and getting them into your funnel, and then do it in a way that's memorable beyond just scrolling through your ad. And again, I think they're doing it with the Super Bowl ad as well. It's a memorable ad. This is going to be something that sticks with people for months, and a year down the road from now, they're going to be walking in Costco, or they're going to see some ad somewhere else, or they're going to get a direct mail piece. They're going to be like, oh yeah, that's those guys.
Right.
That's marketing.
Right.